Next on the Rockbridge Report.
A Florida police officer may spend the rest of his life in prison for the attempted murder of a black motorist. We'll take you inside the verdict and the victim's family's emotional reaction.
The truth will always prevail, regardless of how many, bad cops there is. The truth will always prevail. And this is what happened today.
A Virginia brewery's attempt at mixing breakfast and brews drew a surprising reaction. You won't believe how the Lucky Charms beer is selling next.
If you felt like you never got a chance to put your umbrella away last year, you weren't alone. Grayson Duran will show us how the rain affected local farmers.
I'm Isabel Chiodo. It's been a cold week with temperatures dropping below freezing. Luckily, we may see some warmth early next week, but first, precipitation tomorrow. I'll tell you what form coming up in my weather forecast.
All that and more next on the Rockbridge Report.
Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news from Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Rockbridge Report. My name is Zed Ahmed.
And I'm Caroline Blackman. Former Trump campaign chair Paul Manafort will learn his punishment today in federal court. Manafort was found guilty of defrauding banks and the government and failing to pay taxes on millions of dollars he earned as a political consultant in Ukraine. Prosecutors have asked for up to 25 years in prison, potentially a life sentence for the 69-year-old, and tens of millions of dollars in financial penalties. The case against Manafort was the first brought to trial by special counsel Robert Mueller as part of his Russia investigation. House Democrats will soon vote on a resolution condemning anti-Semitism and other bigotry. The resolution came after a week of divisive debate among Democrats over how to respond to newly elected Representative Ilhan Omar's comments on Israel. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says the resolution is aimed at hatred, but not Representative Omar. Omar has been scrutinized for remarks some saw as anti-Semitic. Pelosi defended Omar before the vote.
I feel confident that her words were not based on any anti-Semitic attitude, but that she didn't have a full appreciation of how they landed on other people, where these words have a history and a cultural impact that may have been unknown to her.
A jury today found a Florida police officer guilty of manslaughter and attempted murder, the first Florida officer convicted in an on-duty shooting in 30 years. Newman Raja shot a stranded black motorist in 2015. Raja was fired shortly after the shooting. He's facing a minimum sentence of 25 years and could spend his life in prison for the death of 31-year-old Corey Jones.
We, the jury, find as follows. As to count one, we find a defendant guilty of manslaughter while armed with a firearm as charged in the information. As to count two, we found a defendant guilty of attempted first-degree murder as charged in the information.
Raja will be sentenced in late April. Here's the victim's father reacting to the news.
It was the truth that convicted him. It was the truth that brought him to justice. It was the truth that sent him to jail.
President Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, is suing the Trump Organization. Cohen says the organization broke a promise to pay his legal bills. He says he is owed at least $1.9 million to cover the cost of his defense. Cohen also says the organization stopped paying when he started cooperating with the investigation into Trump's business deals in Russia. Cohen told reporters he has no plan to stop cooperating anytime soon after a closed-door hearing with the House Intelligence Committee Wednesday night. He also turned over documents to lawmakers to back up his claims that a false statement he gave to Congress in 2017 was edited by Trump's attorneys.
R. Kelly's week isn't getting any better. Detroit police are investigating whether Kelly was involved with a 13-year-old girl. Police said the incident happened in 2001. Kelly was indicted last month on 10 counts of aggravated criminal sexual abuse. He's currently in jail for failing to pay $161,000 in child support. He was arrested after an explosive interview aired where he ranted about pending sexual abuse charges. CNN's Kim Hutcherson has the latest.
He came here in good spirit, expecting to walk out. He didn't come here to go to jail.
R. Kelly is now back in custody after failing to pay more than $160,000 in child support.
He didn't have $161,000, so we tried to work some things out. It didn't work out.
And your character. I have been assassinated. I have been buried alive.
Kelly's new troubles coming just hours after a fiery interview with CBS News, where the singer lashed out when pressed on the sex abuse charges he's facing, blaming social media and scorned women for his latest issues.
Fighting for my life. Y'all killing me with this. I gave y'all 30 years of my career.
Robert.
30 years of my career. Y'all trying to kill me. You're killing me, man.
The producer of Lifetime's docuseries Surviving R. Kelly says she doesn't buy his outburst.
I thought I was watching Matt Damon's SNL performance of Brett Kavanaugh.
The parents of Jocelyn Savage, who claim Kelly has purposely kept their estranged daughter from them, say the interview was disturbing.
That's what I'm praying for Mr. Kelly, to get some type of help.
I'm Kim Hutcherson reporting.
Alabama is recovering from major tornadoes earlier this week. The state is attempting to repair parts of the state that were hit with some of the worst twisters. CNN's John Lawrence has the full story.
Flags at half-staff in Montgomery honoring the tornado victims.
There's nothing left standing. Everything's in shreds. And that means the hopes and aspirations of people are, at this point, in shreds.
Lee County was hit with the most severe twister, an EF4 with winds reaching 170 miles per hour. 7 funeral homes are hosting services for the 23 people who died, and officials say the community is financially helping those in need. Granadis Baker's home is destroyed, but he and his family survived without harm.
Man, every day I wake up, it's a beautiful day for me. Now, from here on out, no doubt, no complaining, no nothing.
The brunch he was making minutes before the tornado struck is one of the only things in the house left undamaged. As cleanup and recovery efforts are underway, residents are bracing for another possible patch of rough weather. The National Weather Service reports severe thunderstorms and tornadoes are possible this weekend.
There's a lot of uncertainty about what tomorrow may bring, but the one thing we flat do know, there is certainty in the resiliency of the people of Alabama. We've done it before. We'll do it again.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
A U.S. journalist is on his way back home after being seized and detained in Venezuela. Security forces took Virginia-born Cody Weddle from his apartment before freeing and deporting him several hours later. It isn't clear why he was detained. Weddle's mother can't wait to see him again, safe and sound.
I love you. Gonna give him a big hug and just tell him he better not ever do this to me again.
A Lexington woman is out on bond after being charged with a felony for malicious wounding. Police arrested Carol Matthews Rollins last Thursday after an altercation with Jacqueline Dare. Witnesses said Rollins paced up and down Washington Street outside the Center of Gravity Yoga and Pilates studio. Witnesses said Rollins threw Dare to the ground when she saw Dare walking down the steps. Business owners nearby then heard Rollins yelling obscenities at Dare to stay away from Rollins' husband and stop sleeping with him. Paul Rollins has been a dean at the Washington and Lee Law School since 2015. Dare was an administrative assistant at the law school, but the university website now says she works on the undergraduate campus. Carol Rollins is scheduled for a preliminary hearing on May 6th. Virginia's Republican Party wants photo evidence of the Democratic Attorney General in blackface, and it is willing to pay $1,000 for it. Mark Herring admitted last month to wearing blackface at a party while he was in college. The Republicans are also willing to pay for contact information for Herring's fraternity brothers.
The record amount of rainfall last year is still impacting farmers. Grayson Duran is going to show us how. Later in the newscast, we'll show you a senator's emotional revelation at a subcommittee hearing.
Like many victims, I felt the system was raping me all over again.
And Isabel Chiodo will have the full weekend forecast. Rockbridge County farmers are hoping for dry months to come after living through almost double the usual amount of rainfall last year. You can see the evidence in swollen rivers and creeks, including the Maury River outside of Lexington with this live picture. Farmers are still assessing damage from the record amount of rain in the area. Grayson Duran has the story.
There's a reason why you never put your rain boots back in the closet last year. National Weather Service observer Julian Kesterson said the Rockbridge area received 75 inches of rain in 2018. Brian Ross's 54-acre farm in Fairfield is not only known for its horses, but also its lavender.
The worst thing for lavender is rainfall, too much rain, too much water.
Ross said a lot of rain causes the plants to rot in their middles.
I know we've lost some since last fall was very bad for them. We had a much smaller harvest, even though the plants were a year older.
The lavender plants are not Ross's only worry.
But the donkeys who are barefoot right now, they'll tend to get something called white line disease, where the foot gets a little bit of rot in the bottom of it. And if it gets severe, if you don't treat it a little bit and keep them trimmed, it can do some serious damage to the feet.
The National Weather Service reported that Lexington and the surrounding county typically receive about 42 inches of precipitation per year. Farmers like Dick Wager of Somerset Farm have extra work to do because of the extra rain this year.
But it causes us more time of cleaning the teats and stuff on the animals, because they come in with that same mud and everything over time.
Wager said it has also been hard to get his livestock's feed to distant pastures.
The worst thing was when we had all the rain on certain areas of the slopes, even with four-wheel drive. You can't even get out in those areas, you just slide.
Wager plans to put synthetic material like geotextile fabric in the paddocks to prevent the ground from becoming as muddy again. The National Weather Service reported that rainfall last month in the area was less than the normal rate. This was the first time since last July. Ross said there is still hope for his lavender plants if drier weather arrives in Rockbridge County.
We can plant as late as maybe July or August and know that we're in pretty good shape. But anything after August for that many is a little risky.
As the first week of March comes to an end, farmers hope drier weather is on the way. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Grayson Duran.
Caroline, Isabel, I don't know about you, but I've had no idea how to dress for the weather this week.
It's true. It's been cold and dreary one day and then sunny and bright the next. Isabel, what can we expect for the next couple days?
Buckle up, guys, because we're going to see everything the next couple of days. From snow to rain to sun, we're going to see it all. Let's take a look at our numbers. First, we have a nice shot of the Maury River, which is pretty high because of all the rain we've been getting. So our high today is 42 and the low is 29, down below freezing. The barometric pressure is 30.24 inches of mercury. Pretty calm out there. The wind speed is only 6 miles per hour and the humidity is low at 26%. Let's see what's going on in the rest of the area. So southwest of us, there are some clouds, a little bit of rain. Nothing of this will be really coming up to us though. Now let's see the temperatures. So partly sunny everywhere except for Roanoke, which is cloudy, but they do have the highest temperature of 46. Covington, lowest at 30. Rest of the area is in the low 40s and partly sunny. So basically the same all around here. So here's that snow everyone's been talking about. The high is 37 tomorrow and the low is 30. Saturday, it's going to be partly sunny when we wake up, but then it's going to get to the showers later in the day. The high is 50 and the low is 40. Sunday, it's going to warm up to 67, but the low is going to be 38, but it will keep raining. Monday, finally some sun, but the high is going to be 56, so it is going to drop a little bit, low of 32. Same thing on Tuesday, just the high is just a little bit lower. So we'll see some warmth soon, guys. Back to you, Caroline and Deet.
Bad news for those who already don't have enough hours in the day because daylight saving time is here. But good news is that we'll be gaining an hour of sunlight too. On Saturday, don't forget to set your clocks an hour ahead and spring into the rest of the year.
The Air Force's first female combat fighter pilot has a personal reason to speak out against sexual assault. We'll show you her full comments.
And remember Norfolk's Lucky Charms beer? You won't believe how many people found it magically delicious.
According to memos obtained by the Associated Press, border agents have been told to target Spanish speakers and migrants from Latin America to carry out a Trump administration program that requires asylum seekers to wait in Mexico. The Trump administration launched the program in late January. The change has the potential to massively shift how the U.S. handles asylum cases. Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen faced off with House Democrats Wednesday about the Trump administration's immigration policies. She also defended Trump's border wall. As CNN's Jessica Snyder reports, Nielsen had to defend some of her missteps.
Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen facing off for the first time today against House Democrats in power, feeling the heat as members grilled her on the controversial zero-tolerance policy, which resulted in separating children from their parents after they crossed the border illegally. Nielsen admitting she had discussed the policy with then Attorney General Jeff Sessions, but didn't realize he was ready to announce it.
At some time before the announcement, we had the conversation. I did not know he was making that announcement that day.
That resulted in weeks of confusion until Nielsen issued guidelines for border agents to implement the policy.
Why did you wait until May 4th to issue implementation guidelines?
Because we wanted to work within the department to ensure we could do it in a appropriately safe way with compassion.
Do you know how outrageous that sounds? You wanted to separate children and families, and you wanted to do it with compassion. So in the meantime, you didn't do anything at all, and you let kids be separated without tracking them.
Nielsen also defended the president's decision to issue an emergency declaration last month to build his border wall, and tried to avoid addressing this seemingly false statement he made about arrests at the southern border.
Never so many apprehensions ever in our history.
Is that accurate? Was the president accurate?
Again, it depends on the context because it depends on the type of migrant, sir.
While Nielsen says Border Protection is on track this year to apprehend 900,000 immigrants crossing illegally or arriving at ports of entry without proper documents if current numbers continue, history has shown higher numbers. In 2006, arrests were just more than 1 million. And during the Clinton administration in 2000, 1.64 million arrests were made. Republicans seized on the latest figures that 76,000 immigrants were caught crossing illegally last month, making it the highest total for any February in the past 12 years.
Let me just put this in context for the American people. Perhaps the most famous invasion in the history of the world, D-Day. 73,000 American troops landed in the D-Day invasion. We have 76,103, according to my numbers, apprehensions along our southern border last month. We have D-Day every month on our southern border.
The first female Air Force fighter pilot to fly in combat said she was sexually assaulted by a superior officer. Martha McSally of Arizona made the revelation at a Senate hearing on the military's efforts to prevent sexual assaults and improve response. Senator McSally said she didn't report because she didn't trust the system, and when she did talk, it just got worse.
I was horrified at how my attempt to share generally my experiences were handled. I almost separated from the Air Force at 18 years over my despair. Like many victims, I felt the system was raping me all over again.
Today is a good day to eat breakfast for dinner because it's National Cereal Day. So grab a bowl of your favorite colorful, sugary snack and enjoy. But if you prefer your breakfast with a bit of hop, you may have missed the perfect beer for you. Margaret Kavanaugh has the full story on how the Lucky Charms beer was received by patrons in Norfolk.
The president of Smartmouth Brewery, Porter Hardy, is overwhelmed by the response his popular Saturday morning beer that was featured on late night talk shows is getting.
A little part of terror in there because it was so unexpected, but a huge amount of gratitude.
He said people were lined up at 7 a.m. Saturday morning.
So they sold as fast as we could ring people up.
So I was proud of them, but I was like, I don't want to wait in that line.
The crowds were massive and the lines were long on Saturday. The president says that people came from several surrounding states. Today, those crowds are gone and the beer is also gone for now. But the big question is, will he make more?
I don't know. We were just talking about that this morning. I kept saying, let's get through the weekend and see what happens.
I'll get some if they make it again, yeah.
It's definitely not a no, but it's not a yes. It's somewhere in there, yeah.
Lucky Charms lovers wanted to get their hands on an IPA that's described as magically ridiculous, made with pounds of marshmallows. The charm of the beer is definitely striking a nerve with those in the craft brewery community.
I think part of it is certainly the nostalgia of it. I think people also look to craft breweries to be fun. You know, we're not big beer. We can do fun stuff.
Hardy is grateful for the support they've received.
People want to try something interesting from us small guys.
The small guys that are getting a lot of attention.
I'm glad that Norfolk's making their name out there.
Rockbridge County High School is a state champion, but the competition is fierce, but it's not on a corner.
And John Ide's next with a record for LeBron James in sports. Rockbridge County High School's Scholastic team may be heading to nationals. The Rockbridge County High School Scholastic Bowl team redeemed itself after a disappointing loss in a regional tournament in 2018. In dramatic fashion, RCHS stormed to its first state championship on February 23rd. The team's performance at the state tournament featured a come-from-behind victory over James Monroe High School. And they clinched the title by beating the 3-time defending state champion from Cave Spring High School. Rockbridge County High has qualified for 2 national tournaments scheduled for the summer, but have not yet decided if they want to defend their victory streak. As an Atlanta native, I know I'm going to be betting on the Atlanta Braves this season.
Well, Caroline, if you're someone looking to make bets, I've heard there's a new rule in the front office to help combat some of that. What's going on?
Caroline, indeed, that's right. There is a new rule affecting Major League Baseball, and it intends to cut down on sports gambling. Let's take a look at sports. Major League teams this season must notify the commissioner's office of their starting lineups before they are announced at stadiums. This decision comes in response to the Supreme Court ruling that has led to more widespread legal gambling. Through last season, clubs announced lineups as they pleased. Some posted in clubhouses, others in emails to media, and even on Twitter. Starting this season, though, teams must send the starting lineup to Major League Baseball's Data Operations Group 15 minutes before whatever time the club plans to announce. And high school spring sports are starting up next week. The Perry McClure High School varsity girls basketball team is advancing to the state championship game after defeating Honaker 48-31 in the state semifinals Tuesday. The girls will play in the state championship game this Saturday at 11 a.m. against Surry County at Virginia Commonwealth University's Siegel Center in Richmond. If they win this game, this will be their 3rd consecutive state title. Speaking of basketball, LeBron James has moved past Michael Jordan into 4th place on the NBA's career scoring list with a driving 3-point play in the second quarter of the Los Angeles Lakers' 115-99 loss to the Denver Nuggets. He bettered Jordan's 32,920 career points with another variation of the brute physical brilliance that defines his playing style, which was influenced by Jordan's combination of grace and aggressiveness. Caroline and Adit, back to you.
An Uber driver in Washington State has a unique offering for his customers, a ride menu. Jamie Tompkins takes us inside the driver's car.
George Uber works part-time as an Uber driver. Inside his car,
I've been driving for 3 months.
no one is a stranger.
Nice.
Just a friend he hasn't met yet.
I could be downtown Seattle. I mean, I've gone as far as Olympia. You never know where you're going to go.
George wants his passengers to enjoy the ride.
I want them to give me 5 stars.
So he offers a ride menu. The options include a stand-up ride where he performs his best comedy.
And then there is the silent ride, which is silent. There's the therapy ride, and that's for, you know, those people, they may have had a bad day at work, and they might have something on their mind, and I just want to try to help take it off, you know, and I tell them, talk to me.
And if sharing isn't your style, maybe you dig the creepy ride.
Look back in the rear view, just really weird, you know? And then there's the rude ride where I just be absolutely rude.
Unbeknownst to George, an amused passenger named Luis Arguijo tweeted a picture of the ride menu, and it's been liked and shared hundreds of thousands of times.
I was like, which passenger was it?
Today, we arranged a meeting so driver and passenger could pick up where they left off.
You know how you get all the Twitter notifications, and it's just over and over and over? It's like, yep.
The two can't get over how something so simple could cause such a sensation.
Hey, you deserve it, man. You deserve the love.
I don't know, man. You're the one who posted it. You're the one who posted it.
Even though we're seeing some sun next week, don't forget about the snow tomorrow. Make sure to bundle up for the cold.
That's all for the Rockbridge Report. Thanks for watching.
Join us again March 12th at 3:30 for the next live news update, or check out our website anytime for the latest Rockbridge area news on rockbridgereport.wlu.edu.